Today on Dr. Phill.
I'm the most famous wife in sports history since Marilyn Monroe.
The baseball wife who assaulted her New York Mets pitcher husband.
To show up at somebody's house with a gun,
It's a great gun.
a hatchet, bulletproof vest, 2 of these.
I had several knives. It was all just thrown in my purse.
You just carry this around in your purse?
Her side of the story.
I was actually laying on the bed thinking we were gonna have sex.
And the secret recordings of the confrontation.
Give me some money so I can tell.
There was a warrant out for your arrest for murder.
It was the single most traumatic experience of my life.
Anna Benson, in her own words.
I worked hard to get an honor in Congress. How many strippers do you know with an honor in Congress?
From cover girl to convict.
I believed that they were gonna kill me.
What is it you know that people would want to kill you for?
A Dr. Phill exclusive.
Why didn't they just shoot you?
Because I'm a badass bitch. I know a lot about defense. I can handle a weapon, and if you want to take me out, you better be on your damn game, perched up on a mountain with a really long rifle.
With her stunning good looks and outspoken personality, Anna Benson took the world of baseball by storm. Married to former Mets star pitcher Chris Benson, Anna became known as baseball's hottest and most infamous wife. From modeling nearly naked, covered only in baseballs, to vowing to Howard Stern that she'd sleep with the entire Mets team if her husband ever cheated on her, Anna Benson has never failed to shock. But recently, the crazy antics that made Anna a star took a dangerous turn. Today, in an exclusive interview, Anna Benson speaks out for the very first time since committing the crime that had everyone talking.
The hot-looking woman who seemed to have it all, living the good life as the wife of a Major League Baseball player. Now she's facing prison, accused of threatening her husband.
We begin with that dramatic 911 call and the charges against baseball wife star Anna Benson.
My soon-to-be ex-wife has gotten into my house. She's brandishing a gun.
She has a gun?
Police say she had a hatchet, knife, ammo belt, expandable baton, taser, and this.
She's wearing a bulletproof vest.
When she married Chris Benson, FHM magazine dubbed Anna baseball's hottest wife.
But the former stripper has gone from posing in Penthouse to the Big House.
The 37-year-old beauty became nationally famous for her outlandish behavior. Last year, Chris filed for divorce after 15 years of marriage. Then, in July, Anna allegedly barged into his house.
She's in the house and I'm downstairs in the basement.
Has she threatened you with a gun?
Yes, it's got like a shotgun shell, small like a sled.
Benson told police he was able to get away from his wife by saying he'd go find a lighter.
Police found the 37-year-old woman on the back porch smoking a cigarette. She didn't understand why police were making a big deal out of her actions. She has been charged with 2 counts of felony aggravated assault with a weapon and criminal trespass.
We sat down with Anna just days after her release from jail. Today, she's telling her side of the story for the very first time. We reached out to Chris Benson for comment regarding the allegations Anna makes about him in this show, and his attorney responded on his behalf. As I suspected, Mr. Benson categorically denies all of the allegations. I believe she may believe much of what she is saying. There just doesn't seem to be any basis in fact for the allegations that she makes. Just listen as we take you inside the mind of this beautiful but troubled former baseball wife. Well, I'm anxious to talk to you because you've apparently had a pretty rough 4 months in jail.
Yes, sir.
What I want to do is help you move towards whatever goals you have after having been incarcerated for that period of time. Are you now a convicted felon?
Yes. I'm not guilty of what they accused me of.
Tell me how you wound up in jail.
That day, I was very, very frightened. It had just built into a situation where I was scared to walk out of my home thinking I was going to be shot and killed.
So take me to this day. You show up at your husband's house.
Well, the house was mine also. It had my name on it. I had been taking care of the kids and I was tired. I had not slept much. I did not have much money left and I wanted to leave town. So I left the children with my friend and Chris was supposed to be on his way to pick the kids up at my apartment. On my way out of town, I thought, you know what, I want to get my milk. And when I pulled into the neighborhood, he pulled in right behind me.
The report says you showed up at his house wearing a bulletproof vest.
I was going to the gun and knife show. I've been giving bulletproof vests to police officers through my charity for over 10 years. I have an honorable mention in Congress. So I had actually purchased one at the last gun show I had been at because I was interested in creating ballistics, bulletproof vests. That's my passion, it's what I enjoy. So I was dressed up, I had a very cute outfit on. I decided to go ahead and grab my mail. And he wasn't supposed to be there, and we stood outside and had conversation for a while.
And you had a gun.
Yes, my judge.
A Taurus judge. An extendable baton.
Two of them I had.
And a knife.
I had several knives, and I had a hatchet. I had
a hatchet
taser.
and a waistband. But so you have all of this with you.
Yes, it was in my purse. I had a huge duffel bag purse.
Okay, so.
And all of it was in the purse.
So you're wearing this type heavy thing, a bulletproof vest.
Yeah, it looked cute. It looked like Angelina Jolie. And then I had altered the vest that the man made because I wanted him to make vests for my company. So I had made some alterations to his vest to say, hey, can you create this for me?
But you understand that doesn't look good.
It's the South. You're from Texas. We love our guns and we love our home defense.
This is a Taurus judge, right?
And it's a great gun.
So you had this with you at the time.
I have a permit to carry concealed. I always have guns.
I tell you what I don't understand is these things are heavy, right?
Yeah.
Put it on. I'd love
Actually,
to see
this one is very light. This is nothing. Yeah, the one I had is much heavier.
I just can't imagine.
Yeah, this vest is.
Seeing someone.
This one's okay. How much was this vest?
$500.
The one that I was wearing was only $200. So it's affordable to every man, woman, child in America.
You have to understand, with somebody walking through the door with that on and this in their hand,
I had this in my purse. But here's the thing, that was in my purse, okay? This was on me, but then I had all this other black on, so really it blended in. You couldn't even really see it.
Okay, well, good.
I'm enjoying this thing. This is nice. I had been wearing it for months. I was having someone threatening my life, and so I was ready.
So you walked around your house.
Yeah.
With this on, in case there was a home invasion.
If the threat level was high, and if I was getting a lot of activity on my computer and, different emails or texts or threats, or if I saw his car coming by the house, because I had cameras set up, then I would wear my vest for the just in case because I didn't know what was going to happen.
All right, well, let me ask you something. You're on your way to a gun show. You've got an ammunition belt around your waist.
That I made.
Because I've been to a lot of gun shows. You can't take ammunition to a gun show.
It was in my car.
It was around your waist with bullets in it.
Well, I wasn't planning to walk into the gun show with it, but I was planning to take the belt, because it was just a regular Dolce & Gabbana belt that I attached a holster to.
So you had a Dolce & Gabbana ammunition belt.
Right.
You had a hatchet. Was it this type hatchet?
Yes.
So you show up with this.
It was all just thrown in my purse.
You just carry this around in your
purse? Well, I was going to the gun show with it. That was the thing. I was taking a series of...
I never looked at my wife's purse, but...
Well, but like I said, I do weapons, and that's my passion. It's what I enjoy. I was on my way to an event, and I'm trying to construct a company to sell these weapons and stuff. So I was taking all my things to the event to say to the vendors there, hey, can you create me my own hatchet? I like the way this one looks, but I want you to alter this on it so I can sell it from my site.
So you're carrying this, you're carrying a hatchet.
In my purse.
And you've got an extendable...
I had two of them.
Two of these.
One short, one long.
And it was this that you broke the computer monitor with.
Yes, and I'd do it again.
And so you whacked
the computer. He had probably 11 or 12 phones. He had 5 or 6 iPads, 2 or 3 computers in the bedroom. And when I saw it, I was very enraged because he had been hacking me and tracking me. And I said to him, we're gonna smash all these electronics and throw them in the trash. And he told me no, to my face. And so I just smashed the computer. In light of, everything that he's done, I feel like me losing my temper and whacking his computer is very small in comparison. I did not point a gun at him. I did not swing a baton at him. I would never hurt that man. I love that man. He's laughing on the 911 call. He's obviously not afraid.
Well, I'm going to actually play you a little bit of that here.
Yes, my soon-to-be ex-wife has gotten into my house. She's brandishing a gun.
She has a gun?
Yes.
Where is she right now?
She's in the house and I'm downstairs in the basement.
Wait, has she threatened you with that gun?
Yes.
What? Okay, what is she wearing?
She's wearing a bulletproof vest.
She's wearing a bulletproof vest?
Yes.
And she threatened you with a gun?
Correct.
You said you're down in the basement? Who else is in the house with you?
Nobody, just me and her.
Okay.
I just got my hand on the back door in case I hear her come down the stairs.
Okay. Can you hear her upstairs?
Oh, a second.
Just tell me if you can hear her, okay?
I can hear her all the way upstairs, but I'm just going to get out of the house right now and just go to the next door neighbor.
Okay. So you're on a cell phone?
Yep.
Stay with me on the phone. I want to make sure you're safe.
Okay.
He doesn't
there's
sound
more.
very afraid to me. I was actually laying on the bed thinking he was going to come back upstairs or wherever he was and we were going to have sex. Seriously, because the conversation had calmed down between us, and I was laid out on the bed, and he asked me, you know,
This
oh, well,
is
how
before
much?
or after you smashed the computer screen?
After.
Oh.
And things had calmed down between us, and he had just said, well, okay, fine, because I said, can you just give me an advance on my settlement money? And he said, yeah, how much do you want? And I said, well, what about $30,000? And he said, okay, that's cool. Well, he goes, the checkbook is in the kitchen. I said, okay, and I said, do you have a light? And he goes, yeah, I think I got a lighter or whatever. And, you know, usually if I'm laying on the bed and I'm gonna smoke a cigarette, we know what that means. And so he left the room and I just was laying there waiting on him to come back, and he didn't come back.
And what'd you do then?
I just got up and went to the kitchen to look for the lighter and went out to see if there was one outside where the grill was on the back deck. And the next thing I know, there's the police.
Coming up.
I'm so mad right now. I have nothing other than complete and utter. I'm gonna get you so hard.
I wish I would have whacked him one time. I'm just saying.
And later.
You've had a very interesting past. In 1996, there was a warrant out for your arrest for murder.
We now return to the baseball wife who assaulted her New York Mets pitcher husband.
Former Major League Baseball pitcher Chris Benson was hiding in the basement of his Smyrna home when he called 911 this week.
My soon-to-be ex-wife has gotten into my house. She's brandishing a gun.
She has a gun?
Yes.
She was armed with a gun, a knife, a hatchet, and a baton.
In order to better understand why Anna made the poor choices she did, it's important to listen carefully to her thought processes and the inner demons she's struggling with. Now, I believe Anna's theory might well spring from what she's saying to herself about what's going on. There's absolutely no evidence that we've been able to find supporting Anna's allegations about her husband, Chris Benson. Here's more of our conversation. Well, the police said when they got there you were in the back of the house, and they said that you were shocked that he had called the police.
Yeah, I was, but at the same time, not really, because of all the other, like, he's very unscrupulous. He is a complete and utter liar. I never understood what was wrong with him until he left me, until I happened to stumble across a website that talks about psychopaths, and he fit all 13 symptoms. And so that is like something notorious that they would do, is to, you know, set you up on something like that. I had a permit to carry my weapon. I had on a bulletproof vest that I had purchased for several reasons, but the main reason was because of what he had been doing. I was scared to death. And so I'm trying to protect myself, number one, and number two, I'm just trying to go out and earn a living and make some money. I decided that I was gonna go and try to earn a living with what I knew best, which was firearms and ballistics and what I enjoyed. And he knew what I wanted to do. I mean, I even named my company Major League Ballistics, which I still intend to take that company to the top.
Well, were you wearing the bulletproof vest because you were on your way to a gun show?
Both.
Or were you wearing the bulletproof vest because you were afraid somebody was going to shoot you?
Both. I would go to bed with that vest on, which was extremely uncomfortable because I was threatened with home invasion.
So you were wearing it because you thought...
No, I knew, and I was told I was going to be killed.
Did you call the police?
I did tell the police, and they told me that there was nothing they could do because, ma'am, we can't locate him. That's what they would say to me every time. And when I go to the police, the FBI, the ATF, everybody over and over again saying this is happening to me, they don't pay me any credence.
But you say you were going to his house to get money.
No, I was going to get my mail. That's it. I did not expect him to be there.
But you asked for money when you saw him.
Yes, I did ask him for money when I saw him.
And he said, how about $30,000?
Well, no, we were outside talking about money at first. He was just like, screw you, and went into the house, and then I just went in behind him. And so then when I got in the house and I saw all the computer hacking equipment and the tapping and tracking and stuff he had been doing to me, and I saw it all in his possession, I became very lit up because he almost drove me over the deep end. He terrified me, and he didn't care. And then I just felt like it was so unjust because I did my due diligence. I went to the police over and over again, first of all. And I was alone in the whole situation. I don't have family. My parents have never treated me right. And when there's money involved, nobody wants to be with you if you don't have any. So everyone abandoned ship and went with Chris. I'm still in love with the man, and point blank, he broke my heart.
But he had no reason to be afraid of you when you were at his house.
Look, we've been married 15 years. He knows his wife. He knows I wasn't gonna hurt him. I don't have that in my heart. I've never hurt anybody in my life. I don't even spank my own kids for the most part.
Well, he recorded you while you were at the house.
It was nasty. My lawyer said I was screaming at him, and I was, because I was in hysterics. But that's the game he plays. You don't hear what goes on before it.
Well, you can tell me what, and I will play it.
I don't remember what was said by him, but it was definitely inflammatory.
Well, let's listen to his recording of this.
Next time, you can think in your little mind about doing something like this to me. This is going to be your example. This. The little span of time me and you have right here. You'll never forget it.
Okay. And he won't.
So, give me some money so I can leave town because of your you piece of
Now, you can't hear him speaking, but he's speaking.
Because this is what's going to happen in this whole house. You're my other. That's what's going to happen.
Do you hear those brakes? That's because he's stopping it and starting it.
It will cost you a bunch, or you're going to kill me, which is it? Really? Yeah, bitch. You just hire a little horse. You don't do because you're a bitch ass.
You hire people.
And I'm still here, aren't I? I'm mad. I'm so mad right now. Look here, I have nothing for you. Nothing other than complete and utter. I'm gonna get you so hard, you don't give me some money right now. But even then, I'm still gonna get you. Because you're a piece of Who the does what you do? A psychopath.
He's stopping and starting this recording so he can say things in between. Number two, you don't hear what was said before he pushes play. I wouldn't change a thing other than, guess what? The way I feel now, the fact I had to cop to a felony, I wish I would have whacked him one time. Because if I had to eat the felony, I'm just saying, he deserves every bit of everything that I said.
When you say you wish you'd have whacked him one time, what do you mean?
Coming up.
It was the single most traumatic experience of my life. It's another reason why I like defense weapons and I like bulletproof vests and things like that, just from the trauma of that situation.
We now return to the baseball wife who assaulted her New York Mets pitcher husband.
Anna Benson was arrested after going to her soon-to-be ex-husband's Cobb County home, armed with a gun, knife, and a hatchet.
I'm gonna get you so hard, you don't give me some money right now. But even then, I'm still gonna get you.
When you say you wish you'd have whacked him one time, what do you mean?
I just wish that I would have hit him in the knee or hit him on the hand, not in the head or anything. I just wish I would have inflicted 1 ounce of pain on him compared to the monster amount of torture, suffering, abuse that he did to me. Tried to drive me off the deep end. He disparaged my character. He slandered my name and my credibility. He made a fool of me.
Well, there's an old saying, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.
And that's the thing, I was still gonna take him back after that. But what I can't handle, what I cannot forgive, is him trying to hurt me. He uses his powerful influence and his money to do horrible things to me.
Well, as you can see, Anna appears to be convinced her husband is trying to harm her. Now, while Anna seems to believe 100% that what she's saying is true, the bold accusations she makes about her husband, Chris Benson, are just completely unfounded. Let me talk about you for a minute. We're talking about him a lot. I want to get to know you. You dropped out of school and left home at a really young age,
16.
right? 16. You've had a very interesting past. In 1996, there was a warrant out for your arrest for murder.
So just who is Anna Benson? It turns out she has a dark skeleton in her past involving the murder of a teenage boy. It's been 17 years since Michael Evans and his wife Romaine last saw Anna Benson. That's when she got caught up in the execution-style murder of their son, Michael. Anna was charged with murder but jumped bail and fled. Following a 5-month manhunt, she was apprehended.
After her capture, prosecutors eventually dropped all charges. They said there wasn't enough evidence. Another man, Paul Anthony DeYoung, admitted to that.
Paul, my son's father, had done that. It was the single most traumatic experience of my life. That's another reason why, I like defense weapons and I like bulletproof vests and things like that, just from the trauma of that situation.
So you went on the run for 5 months.
Yeah.
Was it during that 5 months that you became pregnant with Paul's child? And that child was born and later adopted by Chris, right?
Right.
And you had a 3-year-old child at the time. Where was your child?
She was with my grandparents.
Now, in '98, you were working as an exotic dancer at a place in Atlanta, correct?
Yes.
So you meet Chris and y'all marry in 1999.
Yes, he promised me the world. He came in and, oh, I'm going to take you out of the situation. You know, I'm going to give you the world, princess, if you just sign on this dotted line, this prenuptial agreement.
This was like a Cinderella story.
That's what I thought, but
you said you had, at the time, you said, I had nothing. I had 2 pairs of panties and 1 bra, and suddenly I was married to a millionaire.
We were going on a trip to Hawaii, and everyone said he's going to ask you to marry him in Hawaii. But instead, he asked me to marry him 2 days before we were leaving. And I was confused, and I said to him, you know, I thought you were going to ask me in Hawaii. And he said, no, I want to marry you in Hawaii. I've got the whole wedding planned. He was like, but first, we've got to go to the lawyers tomorrow, and I need you to sign these papers. My lawyer begged me not to sign the document. He said, this is an egregious document. He threw the pen across the table at me. But every time my lawyer would say, well, this isn't fair, and I would say something to Chris, Chris would cuddle me and kiss me and tell me, oh, don't worry about those papers, baby. You know, we're leaving for tomorrow, baby, for Hawaii. You've got to sign before we can go. I had less than 24 hours to prepare for that document.
And you signed?
I would have signed anything. I loved him.
Right.
It was never about any of that. I believed him.
And then you two had a child together in 2001.
Yes.
And this child's now 12 years old.
Yes.
So we're now up to 2005, and you pose for the cover and a spread of FHM magazine. How are you feeling at this time in your life?
Beautiful, happy, empowered. I was finally getting to do what I like and what I want to do, in which I'm a writer, I'm a television entertainer, I'm a philanthropist and a humanitarian. I love charity. So I was getting to do like all the things that I wanted to do. I always wanted to be a television star.
You're feeling good about yourself this time
Yes.
in your life?
I'm the only woman in 100 years, over 100 years, on the cover of Sporting News that was a non-athlete. Marilyn Monroe didn't even get that honor.
Why do you suppose you did?
Because I think I'm really great, and a lot of other people do too. I was in my fantasy world, but behind the scenes, he was having all the affairs. So my smile is true, but it's because I didn't know.
You were happy in the moment, but...
Yeah.
Okay.
That was my infamous Mrs. Claus outfit. The Mets had made me very angry. They had gone off of rumors that I was going to pose for Playboy. So rather than come and ask me if that was the case, they instead decided to trade my husband, which I felt very judged. So, you know, if this is how you guys want to play ball, you know, then we're going to have a fun Christmas party. And we did. They said it was the best Christmas party they'd ever had.
Well, at the time that you posed for this magazine, that was roughly the period where you were on the radio and vowed that if your husband ever cheated on you, that you would sleep with the entire Mets team, including the ball boys.
Yeah, it was very funny, wasn't it? I'm actually a television entertainer, so me saying something like that is very tongue-in-cheek.
And it was shortly after that and the Miss Claus get up at the party that the New York Times says, quote, Chris Benson doesn't have a good enough arm for the Mets to overlook his wife's mouth.
I made it fun, and I gave baseball a totally different look. I'm the most famous wife in sports history since Marilyn Monroe, hands down. Some reporters or some people want to judge me on those things, yet they can't stop watching.
But shortly thereafter, you file a divorce petition.
I did. That's when I caught him with another woman. And he begged me back and, oh, I'll never do it again, and threw me a big wedding and all these things.
And then I understand you filed for divorce, then you rescinded it.
Because I loved him. Like,
I understand.
Men are just men, and I know that. And I felt like I believed that it was just her and that she had come on to him, and I believed, you know, him, and when he said that he loved me and that he just had messed up, and like everybody deserves a second chance. And I just wanted my family to stay together.
Chris Benson acknowledges that while he and Anna were married, he did in fact have an affair. He says that he and Anna briefly separated but quickly reconciled and remained together for the next 7 years. We'll be right back.
Coming up.
I worked hard to get an honor in Congress. How many strippers do you know with an honor in Congress?
We now return to Dr. Phil's exclusive interview with Anna Benson.
Did you have a bodyguard?
I did.
Would that give you some comfort?
He wasn't around very much. I can't really get into this too much. I'm going to tell you off camera and off the record.
Don't tell me anything
Okay.
off the record. If you're telling me, I want to be able to use anything I can to help you, so I want everything on the record. Here's what, let me ask you what I know.
He was only around every now and then because I couldn't afford to pay.
Okay.
So he did it because he loved and cared for me.
Right.
And he also did it, I'm pretty almost 100% sure that he's undercover. He was some form of police enforcement. I mean, he swept my room for bugs and all kinds of stuff. And he knew everything that I was telling him, and he came in and was telling me that he had personality profiled, you know, us and you know, Chris and I. And he told me things about Chris that made me shiver because I couldn't believe what he knew from personality profile.
When you had this bodyguard, was he like a big, powerful guy?
No. You don't have to be big and powerful if you have skills.
What name did he use with you?
I don't want to blow his cover. I don't want to, like, I don't know what his, I call him Yoda.
Did you like him?
I fell in love with him.
You did?
But, you know, I'm still a married woman. I haven't been on a date. I haven't been with a man. I haven't hugged a man or, like, been touched by a man in, like, almost 2 years. And so, I mean, I'm really lonely, that's for sure, but I was just on my own. Like, I just kind of felt like, where's all these men? Like, where's my dad? You know, and like, where are the men, like, to protect me and stuff? And I couldn't get any of them to do anything, so I did it my damn self. And I'm proud of every single thing that I did because my intentions were true and they were pure. And I really feel amazed at how I did handle myself because a lot of women would have either killed themselves or they'd have gone over there and they'd have killed him. And when you're tied up in a prenup like that and you get no alimony, you have a husband that is very powerful and very strong and you're not, and you don't have a support system, this is what happens.
Are you still in love with Chris?
Absolutely not. I care for him. I care for him because he's my children's father. And I'm really scared for him. He's really gotten himself into a big mess. I just know that he's in big trouble. And this little felony or whatever I got, this is nothing compared to what's going to happen with him. I don't break the law, except for I do smoke marijuana. And it's not legal in Georgia. And the reason I smoke it is because of chronic pain from my foot, because I've had multiple failed surgeries and I live my life in pain. I am very conscious not to break the law. I worked hard to get an honor in Congress. How many strippers do you know with an honor in Congress? I'm terrified for my life because I know that if the police don't keep their eyes on me or keep me watched, that they're going to kill me. I know they are because of what I know.
What is it you know that people would want to kill you for? You just heard Anna speaking about a bodyguard who she believes was an undercover agent on a secret mission to protect her. We tried to reach the agency Anna's lawyer says this bodyguard worked for and have not heard back. We'll be right back.
Coming up.
Your daughter says you were diagnosed with bipolar and you get real manicky.
I believe that they were going to kill me.
Well, if that's the case, then why hasn't it happened?
We now return to Dr. Phil's exclusive interview with Anna Benson.
What is it you know that people would want to kill you for?
I just know a lot about a lot of money that went overseas.
We talked to your daughter, Alyssa.
The one that stole all of my clothes and purses and personal items from my apartment and then left everything else to get pillaged and plundered by everyone while I was in jail. That daughter.
That's the one?
Yeah, everything that I have is gone.
She says you were diagnosed with bipolar disorder about 11 years ago, and that for years before that, doctors had just told you that you were just suffering from depression.
I was suffering from depression.
But that in fact, you're bipolar and you get real manic-y.
I am only manic when I'm extremely acerbated or traumatized. So I'm not bipolar on a regular basis. I'm happy-go-lucky, relaxed. I like to stay at home with my kids and cook.
She said you wouldn't take your meds because they make you feel like yourself.
They made me slow, sluggish, dumb, and I caught on to the fact that not only was I not myself, but that any time and every time that someone doesn't get what they want from me, like my mother or my daughter or Chris, I'm either bipolar or I'm not taking my meds, when in fact, you know, you are using me and abusing me, and you're using that against me when I have not been diagnosed by any psychiatrist whatsoever with having bipolar.
Listen, and I'm not assigning a diagnosis to you at all or saying that these are right or wrong, but you understand, if you were bipolar, that's nothing to be ashamed of. That's just
I'm not ashamed of it, but
that's just something to deal with. Well, I'm not saying it is. Your daughter said, and this is a quote from her, I was reading about schizophrenia, and everything I read was like, quote, that's my mom. It's
well, I was
weird.
reading about borderline personality disorder, and everything I read about that makes me think about her.
She said when she was still quite young that you were into the rave scene doing acid.
Yeah.
Is it true?
It was a lot of fun.
I mean, did you
lie.
do that?
Yes.
Do you think that might have
not at all
fried your brain at all?
No, I mean, you grew up in the 60s, and I'm not saying whether you tried a drug or didn't try a drug, but I'm sure you have many friends and colleagues left that did plenty of acid that their brains aren't fried.
Well, I have some that did that are, though, too.
Right, but don't you think that if my brain were fried, that before the age of 37 that would have come out? No one has ever said that to me before.
She said that you had a really bad cocaine addiction for a couple of years.
Yes, I had plenty of drugs. I did plenty of drugs in my day. I don't do drugs.
She said you were taking a, quote, crap ton of Adderall.
No, actually, that would be her.
You would go on binges and be up for no sleep for 2 or 3 days.
That would be her. She was dipping into my prescription Adderall pills to do her schoolwork. And looking back on it now, I shouldn't have let her do it. I didn't know that you shouldn't share your prescription medication with another person. I didn't find that out, that was against the law or whatever. I mean, you know, my girlfriends and I, like, hey, you know, do you have a Xanax? You know, yeah, I have a Xanax, whatever. I didn't ever know that was wrong to do that and whatnot. But, you know, she said she needed to study and whatever.
But you gave her Adderall?
She took a couple of them. I mean, I didn't think anything wrong about it.
Yeah, not a good idea.
Yeah, well, I know that now.
Were there times that you would stay in your house and peek through the blinds with an assault rifle in case they came at you?
No, I had cameras. There was no need to peek through blinds.
Well, this is something your daughter had said. I just wondered if it's true.
She was never there, but I had plenty of guns on my bed that I slept with.
You were ready if they came?
Hell yeah. I believed that they were going to kill me.
Well, if that's the case, then why hasn't it happened? Why aren't you dead?
Because I'm a badass bitch. That's why. Because I know a lot about defense. I can handle a weapon, and if you want to take me out, you better be on your damn game, perched up on a mountain with a really long rifle, preferably a .50 caliber, and you better know how to use it. I have eyes in the back of my head. I always have. I have a good sense. God has given me, you know, all of the tools that I've ever needed to survive in this life because I've been around the block a time or two. This ain't my first time at the rodeo. So, you know.
Why didn't they just shoot you?
Because they're a bunch of sloppy, drug-using, young generation gangsters. That's why. Your generation, I'd have been gone.
But you think you're such a badass bitch they couldn't kill you?
Oh, they could have. Yes, they could have.
But they want you dead. Why aren't you dead?
Because of the grace of God, God had his hand on my head. And he always has. Because it's like this, you know, nobody's got my back but me. I was like just me and my kids, and I'm against all these men and all these people doing this to me, plus my husband and everything else.
But you know you've got some help around you now, right?
Yeah. Thanks to
'cause
you.
We're here to help you.
Thanks
we're
to
here
you.
Help you.
Thanks to you.
I wanted to take a few minutes to tell you what I think.
We now return to Dr. Phil's exclusive interview with Anna Benson.
I wanted to take a few minutes to tell you what I think. First off, I think you're a very nice person.
Thank you.
I think you believe everything that you say you believe. We need to test your perceptions.
Right.
You need to know if you are inadvertently misleading yourself.
Right.
Your capacity for insight, your ability to step out of your situation and kind of look at it the way another person would look at it is not very good. You're so immersed in it.
Right.
It's hard. It's hard for me. It's hard for anybody. But for you to show up at somebody's house with a gun, a hatchet, several knives, a bulletproof vest, and ammunition, and a couple of metal batons, and say, I can't imagine why anyone would be upset about this.
But,
All I did
mean,
was
have
hit a
the
computer
proof.
monitor.
I have the proof of where I was going. I have the directions to the show in my car.
But
I have
hear
my
what I'm
company.
saying. Hear what I'm saying.
Everything.
This is where I'm saying you're missing insight, is that you have to understand that that is inappropriate behavior.
Right.
It is wrong to do, and it didn't look good.
But it was never my intention. My intention was to get my mail, period. Now, what happened after that was me caught in the swarm.
At a minimum, it was hugely poor judgment on your part.
Huge. I didn't have anyone advising me, helping me, or now I do.
When you take the story as a whole, it suggests that you might have lost your way and gotten confused here some. But what I am saying is this. My goal here is for you to regain your balance, your credibility, your reputation. That's my goal. And to do that, I'm going to have to help you sort out some of your thinking and get you to problem solve some things differently than the way you're problem solving them now. And you feel that because you know information that people are out to silence you, kill you, control you in some way. I mean, just saying, well, I'm a badass bitch armed to the teeth, so if you want a piece of me, come get it. That's not really the way to play that game. You get to a point where you kind of see the world as a hurtful place because the world's given you a lot of pain. But I want to help you get your strength back, where if there are threats to you out there, if there are problems that you face, that you have different resources to deal with them, and you have different people helping you and supporting you. If you were my wife, I would do for her what I'm saying I want to do for you now. If you were my daughter, I would say I want to do for you what I'm doing for you.
Why didn't my husband want to do that for me? Why didn't my dad?
I don't know, and I'm sorry that's the case.
I just don't know why he would put me through this. I don't know why he would mess with my brain like that. He knew exactly what my weaknesses were being my husband. He knew how to attack me, which the only way to attack me is psychologically because I'm so intelligent and strong.
Maybe he's not doing it at all. Maybe it's not what he's intending. Maybe when at the end of this, you'll say, thank you for keeping a close eye on our children during this very tough time. My point is, help is being made available to you now, and I want you to embrace that help.
We now return to Dr. Phil's exclusive interview with Anna Benson.
Ben is someone that I've worked with for a good while, and he's been listening to what I've said to you. And Ben, what we need to do is help her get better, whatever that means.
We're really, really looking forward to working with you.
I mean, I'll give it 110%.
Well, we're going to need 110%.
And I don't do anything half-assed, so.
Well, we don't either, and together I think we're gonna make a bunch of headway on starting to heal and feel safe.
I think some of it is an ugly reality, but there's a right way to cope with it. But the goal is to get you better and get you back, with your children and back on your career path and back doing whatever you want to do to be healthy and happy and fulfilled. And that's all I want for you. Can we make that our goal?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Take care of yourself. Anna Benson still has the spark and fire that made her a star. Hopefully, with the proper help, Anna will be able to get her life back on track. Anna has agreed to go to Origins Recovery Center in Texas. We are committed to helping her get to 100% health. We want to be clear that we feel the accusations Anna has made against her husband, Chris Benson, in this program are false. And we welcome Chris to appear on the show anytime to tell his side of the story. His attorney expressed to us that Chris Benson's priority is, of course, the welfare of their children, and I could not agree more, which is why we will continue to support Anna during her recovery efforts. It is in the best interest of the children to have a completely healthy and stable mother. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Today on Dr. Phill.
Her husband was not exactly who he claimed to be.
Dr. Timothy Cebulski, James Cedulci, Andrew, TJ, Jimmy.
Did she marry an imposter?
There was never any lies. Did I hold a NASCAR driving license? Yes, I did.
NASCAR said he never completed the application. This says law offices of Andrew J. Cedulci. Do you have a law degree?
No, I have no idea where you got that from.
I thought he was a retired Beverly Hills psychiatrist.
Where did you get your PsyD?
Regis at University of Budapest.
University of Budapest doesn't exist.
God, I'm sweating it.
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
I hate to see people suffering, and you've hurt long enough.
Stand by, Dr. Phill.
I'm going to get you the help that you need.
In 5, 4,
This is going to be a changing day in your life.
Go, Dr. Phill.
How you doing? Hey, guys. How are y'all? Okay, I want you to imagine meeting the man of your dreams, your knight in shining armor, the one who turns your life from dull to dazzling. Now, Sherry thought she had hit the love lottery when she met Tim. She says he told her he was a successful doctor from Beverly Hills and a wealthy and well-traveled business entrepreneur. Theirs was a whirlwind romance, and just 4 months after they met, she became a doctor's wife. Well, so she thought. Take a look.
I met Dr. Timothy Cebulski in May 2012 at a local pub. My romance was extremely quick. I was swept off my feet. He was so charismatic, attractive. I was smitten very quickly.
If it was a love at first sight, I would have to say yes. We clicked very well together. She was the kind of person that you wanted to be around all the time.
He told me he was a retired Beverly Hills doctor. He was an ex-NHL hockey player who played for the Winnipeg Jets and then the Hartford Whalers. He told me he was a Canadian Air Force pilot who was the pilot for the Prime Minister. He went to Pepperdine for an MBA. He was a Yale graduate and UCLA for his medical training. Within 3 weeks, Tim proposed.
I took her for a very nice dinner, and when she came out from dinner, I had the carriage out there waiting. I got down on one knee and proposed to her.
Tim promised he would give me this wonderful, luxurious wedding and pay for everything. 2 days before the wedding, he told me that his bank accounts were frozen and he didn't have access to any money at all. So he asked if I would put it on my credit and don't worry about it. We got married on a beautiful beach, and then we had a reception fully catered with seafood and lobster. And then the very next day, we went off to Cancun for a week honeymoon. After we got back, he told me it would all be paid off by September 30th, and September 30th came around and there was no money. There was promise after promise that never came to be. Things started seeming like they just weren't quite right.
Well, after a month of marriage, Sherry says she became suspicious of Tim. She began to suspect him of cheating, and she wondered where all of his money was, because he certainly wasn't paying any bills. Now, Sherry started to snoop around and soon discovered what she says was a trail of lies. Take a look.
After being married to Dr. Timothy Sabolsi for 6 months, I found an old email from a woman in New York, and she was calling him Andrew, asking for her $31,000. I contacted her. I asked her if she had a photo that maybe she had the wrong person. She responded to me saying that I needed to contact CBS in Fort Worth, Texas, the news department, that they would have footage from 2007, and that's what I did.
His name is Andrew Sadolsi, but that might not even be real. Where did you go to medical school, sir? Where'd you go? Why are you practicing medicine and psychology? There's no record you have a license, sir.
Andrew Sadolsi ran a pain management clinic in Garland. Robert Buckholtz, the clinic's attorney, says his client filed criminal charges against Sadolsi for allegedly stealing more than $30,000.
Andrew Sadolsi eventually went to jail. In October 2009, he was sentenced to 5 years in prison. But less than a year later, he was paroled and deported to Canada.
Watching the news story, it was devastating. I knew that I had to get him out the next day. I was so angry and hurt that I didn't want anyone else to go through this again.
Well, Sherry says she wondered how many other people have been what she calls scammed by Tim. So she decided to tell her story to the press. Now, headlines called Tim an imposter husband. Take a look.
I was in shock, and I really didn't know what to do, so I went to the press.
Tonight, an I-Team exclusive. She fell in love, got married, and then discovered her husband was not exactly who he claimed to be.
I don't know who this person is. I don't know him. I don't know where he's been, what he's done. It's all a lie.
Did you tell Sherry, the woman that you married, that you were a Beverly Hills psychiatrist?
I'd like to ask Dr. Timothy Sabolsi, James Sadolsi, Andrew, TJ, Jimmy, whatever name he's going by today, why? Why me?
All right, well, Sherry, I'm glad to meet you.
Glad to meet you.
And you believe that Tim is a con man?
Yes.
You think he scammed you?
Yes.
And he scammed a whole lot of other people, right?
Absolutely.
And you know that he has said to us that he thinks that this could be salvaged.
Yes.
That his relationship with you could be salvaged. And so we'll talk about that today, and I'm going to give him a chance to come clean with you and clear everything up. Now, we're getting ready to add him to the show, and he's in Canada. He's on satellite. He's not here because he said you had his passport and wouldn't give it back because you're controlling him, because you don't want him here. But from what we can find out, he's been deported and can't get back into the country. Tim says the press has been chasing him down for his side of the story, but he has never spoken out until today. He says he is here to clear his name and set the record straight. But first, let's clear up the issue about who owes who money in this marriage. Take a look.
I have lost at least $50,000 in terms of the wedding and fully supporting him for 6 months.
As for the wedding, I think she spent about $26,000 on it. The discussion over money was always that she would take care of it, and it was pretty well being put on the line of credit, and we always had the intent of paying it together. Now that we're not together, the story changes that now I'm supposedly responsible for all this money. I showed her how much money I had stashed, and I think she got extremely upset over that because I was not willing to cash that money in to pay off her debts. Debts that I feel are not mine.
I married a con man.
Well, Tim is joining us now in an exclusive interview via satellite from Canada. Tell me why you wanted to be here today.
I think this story's been getting a little carried away. You know, saying it's making me seem like a thief in the night to have walked into her bank account, took $50,000 and ran away. This seems to be the concise way this story's being played out, and it's completely incorrect, and it's unfounded.
This wedding that you had cost how much, Sherry?
It was roughly about $22,000.
Now, Tim, your understanding was that you guys were going to pay for that on kind of a 50-50 basis, correct?
That is correct. I mean, we were living together. We did the wedding. The plan was that we would pay for it as fast as we could.
Right.
There was never any contention that it would never get done. It was just certain circumstances popped up that kind of delayed it happening. And then with the demise of this relationship, it never did get paid yet. Because there's never been really any serious conversations.
Well, this is a serious conversation, so I hope we can put these things behind us. Early in the relationship, at that early phase, were you lying to her?
No, I wasn't lying to her. I mean, the whole issue spans here with the media was the fact that she found out about the one occurrence in the bad business deal out of Texas. And she then, instead of sitting and discussing that with me, she just ran off and started discussing it with the media.
You've told us, in fact, you've been amazingly forthcoming about this. You've told us that you are not in financial straits, that you actually have several $100,000 in an account with a brokerage, John Hancock, and that you got $100,000 worth of gold coins in a safe deposit box, correct?
I don't know whether I'd say it's 100,000 in gold coins. It's probably not worth that much anymore, but I do have the 401k that I've stashed, yes, and it's no longer at Hancock. It has been moved.
If you have several $100,000, why would you not just pay for the wedding and not have this strife between the two of you?
The answer to that question is a really simple one. I mean, to cash out that money, we would walk away with less than half of what is in there now. And the idea of that was for our retirement. I mean, to simply work hard and pay for $23,000 is not a great task. It would have been paid already had it not been for Sherry constantly pilfering with the media, which is costing me money on a daily basis.
I want to ask you a couple of questions about this 401k. Sherry says that you said that you had $800,000 in a 401k, a home in Cardiff, that you rented out to tenants. Now, your fiance said he told me he was a millionaire. He made it sound like he would take care of me and my kids. And then you told us, I have a piece of property in San Diego and over $600,000 in a 401k. I will send you a document of my 401k with John Hancock. That's correct, true?
I said I would be happy to show it, log in and show it, but I was not going to send too many documents. I'm not about to put what I have out there, but yes, it is true. That's what I have.
Well, you did show it to us, actually. You sent us a picture of the 401k. We actually talked to a John Hancock representative, and he said there are no records of your name, your social security number provided by you to us, or the account numbers that you provided. In fact, he says that their account numbers are 5 or 6 digits long, and the account number that you provided us in this picture has 9 digits. So they're saying there's no way possible that you could have an account there. They don't have that name or any other name or that account number or that social security number and never have, not now nor at any time in the past. So what do you say about that? You told her and us you had about $100,000 worth of coins. It looks like these have been photoshopped into this stock picture of a safe deposit box. Did you Photoshop them into the box? You sent us a screen grab of that account with your name and those numbers, and we talked to John Hancock, and they said it's just not true.
Okay, the money does exist. It is in there, but it is not under my name, and nor is it under that account number.
Well, how did you get a screen?
Like I said, it has been moved.
How did you get a screen grab with your name on it then?
It was done by a banker friend of mine.
Okay. So what you sent us...
I mean, again...
was false.
I mean, again, I go in. No, it's not so much false. It was changed to protect where I had the income. That is, yeah, I apologize, but that is the truth.
You told her and us that you had you didn't say exact, that you had appraised. You said about $100,000 worth of coins, gold coins, that you had gotten on a dive. We have the picture that you're looking at right now on the screen of these coins in a safe deposit box, correct?
No, I didn't show you those pictures. No, I did not.
Uh-huh. Where did you get this picture, Sherry?
They were sent from Tim to me.
Did you send her an email with that picture in it?
It was sent from a friend of mine down in the States. Yes, it was sent from there.
This is the picture that was sent to you, correct?
Yes.
And we got this from you that has the coins in it. And we reverse Googled this picture to see if it occurred anywhere else on the internet, and this picture came up with a key in the middle. And I thought, well, those look awfully similar. It looks like these have been photoshopped into this stock picture of a safe deposit box. And then I looked at what's called the patina, which is oxidation that takes place on metal. And if you look at the patina here and the patina here, it is exactly the same. This picture and this picture are the same picture, but one of them's got coins in it and the other one doesn't. So your friend that sent this to your wife photoshopped these coins into that box, did he not?
Well, obviously it looks like he did in that case, doesn't it?
But how did he send it from your email?
It was emailed to me, and then I forwarded it to Sherry. There's a trail on that.
Did you Photoshop them into
no,
the
I did
box?
Not. No, I did not. It was basically to get her off my back, and I mean, at that period in time, she was really, you know, coming after me in a hard way over a lot of things, and I was just trying to, I guess, you know, people were trying to help me appease her so that we'd have a little bit of breathing room where I might be able to talk to her.
Well, I'm glad to hear it, because you got to give him credit, because he's telling you the truth here. He's saying they were photoshopped into the box. They were sent to you so you would back off and quit bugging him. Well, Sherry says when they first met, Tim presented himself as a doctor, and I think he's going to dispute this. But take a look at what he said when he asked him about his title.
I was a psychologist. Organizational psychology is what I went to school for. I never told her I was a psychiatrist. I said I was a psychologist. I did organizational psychology. But in Beverly Hills, I had a pain management clinic. And that's pretty well exactly the same thing that I carried on out in the business that I took to Texas. I wasn't licensed because I ran the company, so I really didn't practice. As an organizational psychologist, I mean, you're more about running things. That's what I do. I run stuff. I'm good at how to guide people and make them do what I need them to do that makes everybody money.
Tim, did you tell her you were a retired psychiatrist? You've never held yourself out to be a doctor.
I never said I was a licensed doctor to her at any given time. God, I'm sweating to death here.
Tim, did you tell her you were a retired psychiatrist?
Never said that. I told her I had a clinic in Beverly Hills. That is true, and I did have one.
Did you ever hold yourself out to be a medical doctor?
No, I did not.
You're a psychologist, right?
I study that, yes. I never said I was a psychiatrist, never held myself out to be a doctor, never said I could write prescriptions. None of that has ever come up.
Okay. You've never held yourself out to be a doctor?
No, never.
One of you's lying. Are you lying to me,
I don't think it's
Sherry?
No, I'm not lying.
This isn't. No, come on, Tim. Be fair. This is not a gray area. You either held yourself out to her that you were a doctor, or you didn't. And if she says you did and you didn't, then she's lying. And you can't make excuses for her. She's just lying.
It's not about lying. I think it's just a complete misconception of what she thinks one is and what another is. I mean, I never said psychiatry ever.
Well, are you a psychologist?
Psychology, yes.
Do you have a doctorate of
I've done
psychology?
schooling. I never said I was a licensed doctor to her at any given time. I did say that I had a clinic, and I have run many clinics. My job has always been to run clinics and or hire the physicians that work in them.
You said you never held yourself out to be a doctor.
I'm sweating.
But the Texas Medical Board, on November 23rd of 2010, the board entered a cease and desist order against Andrew J. Sadolch, prohibiting Mr. Sadolch from practicing as a physician or impersonating or identifying himself as a physician. The action was taken on the board's finding that Mr. Sadolch unlawfully engaged in the unlicensed practice of medicine in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and impersonated a physician in the public domain and represented himself as a physician by using the term doctor and MD following his name.
That is correct. That is part of the story that has been misconstrued over this Texas issue. In Texas, I owned the company. I never practiced, never purported to practice. However, when my partners had moved me out of my own company, and I was basically dissolved, myself and my other partner lost our positions of ownership, at that point is when all of this legal battle broke out.
So this was
It came from a lawsuit.
This was retribution.
Yeah, it totally was. I went after them, and they started to come after me.
You're Timothy John Sabolchi, and you have here a date of birth of 8/20/61, born in Bernie, but then it says James Sadolchi, and it has a date of birth of 8/1/60 with a place of birth in Florida. Okay, then you've got another date of birth, 8/1/61, with a different name, Andrew James Sadolch. Then there's Andrew Day Sadoich, and there's a date of birth here of 8/20/59 and a social security number. Then there's Andrew Sadolo with a date of birth that's the same as Andrew J. Sadoich. And then there's James Sadolchi and has a social security number that is different from this social security number. So I count 6 names, date of birth 4, place of birth 2, and social security numbers 2. I am puzzled. So please explain. Where did you get your PsyD?
I went to Regis, and I studied in University of Budapest.
University of Budapest. Well, it just doesn't exist. So please explain.
There's nothing to explain. I've only used 2 names. I don't know where these other ones come from. They're not affiliated to me at all.
Okay, so
I mean, it's like when Sherry did her little background check a long time back. She came up with 8 different names. I mean, just because a name is close to my spelling or to what I use, it doesn't necessarily mean it has anything to do with me.
Okay.
Because I've strictly only used 2 names.
Your second wife was named...
And if you look, Andrew James was my name.
Okay, your second wife was Connie, and she's passed away, correct?
Connie's passed away, that is correct.
That was your second wife?
Correct.
Okay. We have a marriage certificate here with James Sadolchi, with this date of birth and this place of birth, married to Connie during the years that you were married to Connie. So you say this name has nothing to do with you, but we have a marriage certificate with your wife during the years you were married to her. How is that?
I said I used the names. Look at my name I used today, which is my actual birth name. Andrew James Sadolchi was the name that I used for my entire time down there.
Well, Andrew James and James are spelled different. This is S-A-D-O-L-C-I, this is S-A-D-O-L-C, and this one is S-A-D-O-I-C, and those...
Right, I mean, but a misspelling of a name like I have, people misspell my name on a daily basis. it doesn't necessarily put any intent there to do anything illegal or to manipulate something.
Well,
a
that's what I
misspelling
want
of
to
a
know.
name is a misspelling of a name. Let's see the document that it's on, and you would see that I didn't write it out. It's got nothing to do with me.
Well,
I had a common name, and it was commonly misspelt.
Clear this up, because I think this will help you get past, Sherry, a lot of your concerns, because you say that you have a Bachelor of Science and Psychology degree, and Sherry says she got this from a resume on your computer where you say you have a Bachelor of Science and Psychology degree. So that is correct, true?
Correct.
Okay. You say that you have an MS in clinical mental health. This is according to Sherry, because she says she got this from a resume on your computer as well. So this, you do have an MS in clinical mental health.
That is what I studied, yes.
Well, do you have an MS in clinical mental health? Your resume says
My
you do.
master's, yes.
Okay, so you do
Yes.
have it. Okay. Then an MBA in business and organizational psychology. Tim, this is a quote from you. I told her, Sherry, I was a psychologist and went to school for organizational psychology. I did organizational psychology in Beverly Hills. You say that his schooling was apparently UCLA for a medical degree and Pepperdine for this MBA. And according to Sherry, you got this from the resume on his computer. So again, we have the MBA in business and organizational psychology. These are things you two can agree on, so there's no more puzzle about this. So you do have an MBA in business and organizational psych, correct?
I have it in organizational psychology, correct.
All right. So see, there are things you guys can agree on here. Then a PsyD, and according to Sherry, again, coming from your resumes on your computer, she has one here that says you have a PsyD in psychology. Is that organizational psych?
Yes.
Okay. Because I didn't know they offered a PsyD in organizational psych, but so this is correct. True? So no matter what the media says, he's telling you today these things are correct. And she also has a screen grab from your Twitter here that's at Dr. Tim 2, and then a business card from Platinum Pacific Financial, which says that you have an MBA and a PsyD as well. So those things y'all can quit arguing about because you're saying that's correct.
Sorry, I lost you there.
Okay. What I was saying is you guys can stop arguing about that because you're clearing that up and saying that is correct. And then also here, she says that you told one of the other women in your life he was going to go back to work to the law firm in Los Angeles. And we have here some letterhead that say law offices of Andrew J. Sodolci. Do you have a law degree?
No, not at all. My partners in Beverly Hills had the law office. I never had a law office.
Well, this says law offices of Andrew J. Sodolci.
I have no idea where you got that from. I've never even seen that.
Okay. Where did you get your PsyD?
I went to Regis and I studied in University of Budapest.
So Sherry says you said you got your medical degree at UCLA. We talked to them. They said they have no record of Tim Sodolci or any of the aliases that we mentioned. She said, we've been told you went to Pepperdine. They say we have no records of Timothy Sodolci or any of the other aliases we provided. University of Budapest, it just doesn't exist. We can't even find the University of Budapest. And you said Regis University, we talked to their registrar, and they said you registered at Regis, but you never attended a single class.
No, I attended classes. The school that I originally went to is called St. Regis University.
Well, this is Regis University in Colorado, and our producer asked you if this was Regis.
No, it wasn't. It was not in Colorado. It was in Los Angeles at the time it existed.
Okay, St. Regis University.
It is no longer a university. It was shut down.
Well, we talked to our representatives in Budapest, and they say there is no University of Budapest. So how did you get a PsyD from the University of Budapest?
I said the university was in Budapest. It has a completely different name to it.
What's the name?
It now it's changed its name. It used to be the University of Budapest. It is different now in what it's called. It was amalgamated into two larger units that were joined into one university.
What would that university be?
Things have changed over the period of time since 1990s.
Right. What's it called now?
I'll take a break. I'll be happy to look it up, and I'll give it to you. Did I hold a NASCAR driving license? Yes, I did. Did I drive the car? Yes, I did. You can go pick the phone up and ask him.
Well, we did. Your fiance, Jerry, is here. You two met online in 2007?
Yes.
Right. Correct. And what was his name?
When I met him, it was Andrew James Sodolsi.
Andrew James Sodolsi. Mm-hmm. Okay. Sabolsi.
In the beginning, it was Sabolsi, and then he changed it to Sodolsi. He took the B out and put a D in, and left off the S and used the CI.
Did you play hockey?
I played hockey as a kid. I tried to travel and try out for teams when I was younger, but did I play professional hockey? No, I've never said that. I said I tried to make it to the teams, and I was very good back in my day, but I did not make it there. It's kind of like the NASCAR driver thing that keeps throwing up. I said that I owned a team and used to drive NASCAR. It was a hobby. It wasn't a way to make a living. I mean, we spent money paying to run a car.
All right, well, so Sherry, you said, quote, he told me he was an ex-pro hockey player for the Hartford Whalers and the LA Kings. And Jerry, you said other careers he told me about included pro hockey player. We talked to the Hartford Whalers and the LA Kings, and they both say they have no record of Timothy or Andrew or any of those aliases.
I said I tried out and tried to try out for those teams. I never said I would actually physically played and got paid by them.
You never said you were a NASCAR driver, just that you owned a team.
I owned a team that we raced in the Winston West. Did I hold a NASCAR driving license? Yes, I did. Did I drive the car? Yes, I did. That was a hobby. We paid for the car. We had a few sponsors on the car. It's not a job. It's not a living. I mean, the only time you can consider that a living if you're driving in the Sprint Cup.
Well, we talked with NASCAR's corporate representatives, and they said our records reveal that Andrew J. Sodolch has never been licensed as a team owner or driver within the NASCAR organization, although he applied for a license to race lower-level weekly series. He never completed the application process, and in fact, he has an outstanding sum due to NASCAR related to that. We can also confirm there is no such team as Salem Racing. So they don't know it.
I had the license and raced under the license for a year. According to NASCAR, because I did talk to them myself several weeks back when I was trying to get a copy of the license to show it to Sherry. I was told at that time that my partners did not complete the entire payment to them. As a result, they now consider the license not to have been issued. Their terminology is quite, can be deceiving because the license was issued. It was used for over a year. But now when I asked even to get information and get a copy of the license, I was told that since it wasn't completely paid for back in that day, that it doesn't exist as far as they're concerned. You can go pick the phone up and ask them, and they will confirm that's exactly what they told me.
Well, we did. We did. No, seriously, we talked to their legal department, and I didn't read you the whole thing because they went on to say This didn't kind of happen, sort of happen, almost happened, not under any name. We gave them all of the name combinations, aliases, different time periods, Salem Racing, your name, all the other names that you may have used in combination names. They said, all we have is one application, never got completed, and owes us money. Well, I've been talking with Tim, and Sherry and Jerry are here. You know, Tim sent an email that he wanted me to read yesterday, and he says that as I mentioned earlier, that you're doing this for attention. You're doing it to bolster some radio show you have on the air, and that there were things that he didn't share with you, he tells me in this email, that he will beat himself up for every day for not being forthcoming with you about some of these things, but that you, on the other hand, had things you were not forthcoming with him about, that you had been engaged a number of times, that you were promiscuous, that there were things that you weren't straight with him about. Tim, am I summarizing that correctly?
Obviously, I mustn't be that bad of a guy, considering the fact that after 2 months of, being apart, we get back together, and as you've seen the text message I sent, it was like, I love you again, and we were spending time sleeping together and, trying to repair things. But I know she's going to act like it never happened, even though you do have the text messages to show that.
I understand that Tim gave the show all these text messages. I personally have never seen text messages look quite like this, and some of this stuff looks a little familiar, but there's parts in here where the words are outside of the text message, which don't make any sense to me. He clearly has altered some things. I think this shows what lengths he will go to create a ruse. He will do his research and he will sit down and create things. And this is exactly what he did to me to prove he was a psychiatrist. So I'm not surprised. Rather than going out and working for a living and getting a real job, he chooses to spend his time like this.
Is there a future for the two of you?
This has all been about me. I mean, where's the fairness and the balance on this one with the things that she held back?
Do you want to talk about her past? Is there a future for the two of you?
At this point, no, I can't see a future for us.
Tim, do you want a future with her?
Well, I've always said to her I wanted a future with her. There was never any, anything to change that in any difference. This has all been about me, and all the things that I've held back. I mean, where's the fairness and the balance on this one with the things that she held back on me, that she put such importance into my past on this relationship. She had a very sordid past, very promiscuous with the other people she was with. We never discussed the men she was engaged to or the others that weren't there.
Do you want to talk about her past?
If Sherry had a promiscuous background with these gentlemen that she lived with and the swinger groups that I had to hang around with for 6 months without knowing who these individuals were and being paraded to parties to find out that my wife had slept with most of these people, I mean, what's the wrong in that one? I mean, is there not a wrong there as well, that was hidden from me and I was forced to go to all these parties not knowing who these people are?
I never went to prison.
Yeah, so you make that up. You never went to prison.
All right, so he's saying that you were less than honest with him because you did not give him details about your romantic history, your sexual assignations, your dating history, or whatever prior to the time that the two of you got married. Is that true?
That's not true. He knew everything about me. Everything.
What did you find out afterwards that you didn't know before, Tim? Let's hold her accountable.
To be straight up honest, I never knew any of these individuals that we went to birthday parties or barbecues with. I had no idea they were swingers. That was never disclosed to me until not even a month and a half prior to our wedding when we sat and talked about it. And the reason it was disclosed is because we were changing the plans and cutting those individuals out from the wedding because they were already telling Sherry my background and getting into her business. And she didn't want to have them causing chaos for us at the wedding. And so she chose to step back from them as friends and move forward with me and her as a couple.
Were you a swinger?
No, I was not.
Well, she's now lying here saying she never was a swinger. I will tell you that together we were doing it. So for her to sit here and sit there and say she doesn't live in a glass house is absolutely ridiculous. She wanted to bring everybody on the show and hang me some more. It's about time that she sees that her past is not all that great either.
All right, we're out of time for today. I want to thank all of my guests for being here. For more information on today's show, please log on to drphil.com. Thanks, we'll see you.